Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 505. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, getting ready for Christmas. My background is there. We're going to have a fun-filled podcast about the holidays and
I
fun.
got to show you something. You ready? I know this is a little saucy.
Oh my goodness. Charlie is showing off his holiday spirit.
I'm celebrating our first Green Lantern on the big screen, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Yes, you'll need some official white gloves because that's what makes Gary Gardner pop.
White glove service, kind of like old ladies with the lunch line in the 40s. Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, we got a great show and very excited to talk about some huge developments in the world of nerd this week. But without further ado, we always do like to talk about the wonderful folks over on our Secret Friends Unite Patreon. These are the fine folks that like to tune in, spend some money, and get some additional content from the likes of Todd, Mark, and myself. You get ad-free programs, early programs, and lots of bonus content. You can try us out for 7 days for free and then stay on board for as little as $2 a month. As I always say, a lot of entertainment for $2 and during this holiday season. Now, granted, you are listening to this at the very earliest on Christmas Eve, which is Tuesday. But that last minute gift that you got to get that geek in your life, give them the gift of SFU. You can gift by following the link that I'm sure Todd will put in the show notes over to our Patreon. So good folks like Derek Trevelyan, the figure dude, Francie, my wife's hairdresser, Xbox Expansion Pass, Luke Lore, and my great uncle Tim, our Patreons, as well as John Dorf, the awesome Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Kelly and Crayley, Brendan Myers, Corey in HD, Matthew Keel, my buddy Kurt Krug, and we got some new folks in the mix. We have two people doing trials. Todd, you're our monitor for that kind of stuff. Who we got here?
We've got George Bristle, which don't know George, but it does remind me of like George Glass from the Brady Bunch. Right. So we don't know who George is, but George, if you are someone else, let us know. We want to know who you are. It'd be great to get to know you, and basically find out where you found us from. And then we have Slav K. He's on a trial. So Slav, thank you as well. I will give you a little early update though, because we had a giveaway for the Call of Duty code. And Slav won it. Slav, a.k.a. Kiss the Sky on Blue Sky socials. He also basically became a Patreon trial member. He did a review on YouTube and left a Spotify review. So did basically the trifecta of ways he could have entered. So I'm not saying that more helped him, but it did get him an opportunity to win the code. So I have already sent him the code on Blue Sky's chat. So there you go. I believe now we all are accepting on Blue Skies. You got to do is allow anyone to leave you a DM. If you don't, it only cuts it out. So update your settings there, and then we'll make sure we connect with you.
Share it around.
Thanks you gentlemen for joining.
You're right.
Although Slav, don't know. Could be gentleman, lady. Could be a bear.
A human being, entirely possible. A mammal.
Could be.
I'm thinking a mammal. Mammal, not an extraterrestrial. But anyway, to wrap things up, our top tier folks, without whom there would not be, that is the great Nias family of the Twin Cities. How's Sean doing these days? Is he feeling better?
Still dealing with a cervical bulging discs that are not great. So he's dealing with that. Yeah. So it's in his neck right here. So not great. It's your neck, getting shots in your neck.
Oh,
not
dude,
great.
That's rough. Yeah. But anyway, Sean and his wonderful children, Stella and Henry, are our biggest supporters, and we are very grateful for them. So if you want to join in on the fun, patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. Try us out for 7 days and as little as $2 a month to stay on board. As always, a lot of entertainment for $2. And speaking of $2, it might be a little bit less than $2. I don't even see. $1.50
at the bottom.
$1.50 at the bottom. Back in January of 1997. So this is coming up on 30 something years ago. Now, Todd, in January of 97, cover date, so it would have been the end of 96, you and I were living in our East Lansing apartment, attending Michigan State University. Was this a book that you followed, Journey into Mystery? Because Thor
not
spinoff,
at
right?
not at this point, because this essentially, I believe this book was going around the same time that Thor was getting rejiggered for a new title.
Right.
They then brought this title in. Journey to Mystery is where Thor debuted at number 82, because
Right.
Journey to Mystery was an original Marvel comic
Like Amazing
that
Fantasy,
came out in
right.
the 50s.
Right.
Yeah. So, but the weird part is that this book, I didn't really remember everything that happened with it. But apparently, Charlie, in this book, Thor left, and because of the company-wide crossover Heroes Reborn, Thor ceased to be the focus of this, and then basically restored his title into Journey in the Mystery with 503, and that featured the Lost Gods, followed by issues of Shang-Chi and the Black Widow, and then also Hannibal King. But the Lost Gods were basically reincarnations of the gods as regular people. Yeah.
What if God was one of us? Right around the same time that song came out. Joan Osborne, talk about a one-hit wonder.
That's why she wrote it. Yeah, but this is when Marvel was a hot mess, and not a lot was working. And I think,
Express, boop, boop.
Yeah, but even Spider-Man couldn't help this book. So
yeah. So we've got. I'm gonna say, without even really knowing, that that's like Rick Jones, or at least it looks like him. But even if it's not, it's a dude in a long sleeve tee rolled up to the elbows, which is my own personal look. But he's wearing black socks with shorts. Is he 90? It's the 90s, but is he 90? And jorts, which I also refuse to wear, and a headband. So he's got a whole lot of different stuff going on.
I think those are rollerblades.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's very 90s. That's very 90s. Now, he's being held up by, it's a member of the Wrecking Crew. Is that Thunderball, I'm thinking? Remember the
Elliot Franklin, Thunderball. It makes sense to have a ball in his name. But Charlie, all these people are essentially like Erica Velez is the embodiment of Sif, and the dude there, and then they had devices like they had bracelets that were powered of the gods, and then he had a headband that's a power of the god.
She's got pouches later, so she's in the background here. If you're looking at us on YouTube, she's packing heat with a big chain of bullets hanging out the bottom, and she's got thigh straps for both a pistol and I'm assuming a knife on the other side, and then pouches because it's the 90s and there was no 90s without pouches. Do we have an artist on this? It's not.
This one, it's funny because it says Deodato Studios, which Mike Deodato was Brazilian artist, and he really came in and did a lot of books, and then he basically created a studio where people aped his style.
Oh boy!
And then they just called it Deodato Studios. So it was like, okay, now you just it was weird. It was cheap art labor. Yes.
Cheaper, yeah. It's like a sweatshop for labor. It was like it's 1,000.
We're going to South America, gentlemen. We're going to source all art from there.
There's 1,000 monkeys on 1,000 typewriters, giving you the finest novel of all time. It was the best of times. What, Todd?
It was the
worst of times.
The wrecking ball of times.
The wrecking ball of times. Oh my! You stupid monkey. Anyway, so yeah, that's a classic without a doubt. But Todd, something you might not know, that was guy's name, Deodato Studios down in South America. You know who was really running that? It wasn't Mike Deodato. It was our senior news correspondent, Madam Webb. Talk about a finger in every pie. Back in 1997, she was almost 100 years old, but still cranking it. But these days, she works for us for the very fair wage of 5 cents a week. But she does bring us the latest news and scoops over in Madam's Webb's News and Scoops at the corner of Hollywood and Vine. Let's get ourselves out there right now.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's Rumors and News. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Well, Madam Webb, it's that time of the year where you're looking forward to constantly carrying around your mobile mistletoe so you can get all the free smooches when you visit several fraternities, when you basically go in and clean up their houses when they're out of town, and you hope that a couple will be remaining left because a lot of them will be lonely. Right. So, Madam Webb, get your mistletoe ready.
Any port in a storm. Absolutely. Well, this was a very, very big week in the geek world, without a doubt. It was on Thursday. They always, something huge drops when I'm away from the house. I was gone for 12 hours on Thursday. Didn't get to watch this until I got home about 8:00 at night. And it was the trailer for, I feel like the name of the movie didn't even come out in the trailer. Am I right about that? But I mean, we knew what it was, but it was
just said Superman. Yeah.
Right. Well, Todd put the cart before the horse, buried the lead. No, we're talking about Superman, James Gunn's first foray, live action, into the DC, DC, what are they calling it? Actually, just DCU.
The DCEU. Yeah.
DC. Well, no, I think the E's gone. I think it's just DCU.
Oh,
like
no,
MCU.
you're right.
Yeah.
DCU.
So this film, which we're getting on July 11, stars actor David Corn Sweat as Kal-El / Clark Kent / Superman. We've got the amazing Rachel Brosnahan as Lois and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. So this was a powerhouse of powerful images. I love the way the trailer started. Just, here's the Arctic. Looks kind of crazy. Big poof. And there's our guy bleeding to death, curled up in the fetal position, and he whistles, and he's looking to his right, and he sees a big cloud of snow, and then there's the good boy in the whole wide world, Krypto the super dog, and he says, "Take me home, Krypto," and puts the cape in his mouth, and Krypto drags him back across the tundra. You couldn't have named that. I've never seen anything quite like it. I thought that was really something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to be, this trailer is great because not only did it give you a basically a feel for what Superman looks like. Obviously, you get that. You got Krypto involved, so it's going to be a little lighter. We have not seen Krypto in a live action movie before, which is cool.
Right.
And then we got a lot of basically as he was recovering from dropping from sky, we got a couple of fast forwards or backward looks of the world he lives in. He lives in a world where he has existed, where superheroes exist. This is not like it's the origin of all superheroes. You get a feel for his life, where you see Pa Kent on the farm. You see Clark Kent with call it the broccoli hair, where it's kind of messy up front. We do get Lois Lane, but you do see moments where Clark and Lois, Superman and Lois are actually kissing. So
both. You see it separately.
Sure.
So yeah, she's playing both sides, or she knows this, or it's not a secret. So they've that part. Yeah,
exactly. We've got Lex Luthor in this. We've got heroes in regards to Mr. Terrific. He's the black gentleman with the big T across his face. He's essentially the smartest man in the DC universe, but he's also an accomplished athlete. And then we also get Ultraman, which is a screenshot. Ultraman is essentially the bad dude from the Injustice Society, who is equivalent to Superman. And then we also get Metamorpho, which you see like the white face at the end, Metamorpho. And you also get Hawkgirl, which is cool. And then you get Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion.
I don't, I have the correct ring. It's upstairs. I should have put it on before it came down.
But you don't have the hair, Charlie. Without the hair, it's not really Guy Gardner.
That is an order from an overseas wig place. There's no doubt about it. But you're seeing in this trailer, and then you see monsters and different stuff that I know a couple of the analysis videos I've watched suggested that the main villain of this film will be Brainiac. We didn't see him. Lex Luthor is more of a secondary villain. That's what was postulated by the
makes sense
that I listened to. Yeah, it made sense because they're not going to hold that back. Because really, think about Superman 2. Lex Luthor was an ancillary villain. He wasn't really pulling the strings. It was the Phantom Zone guys. So that really makes sense. But you've got all the stuff that you really want out of a comic movie: big monsters, lots of explosions and destruction. Superman saving an innocent little girl by throwing himself in the path of some flying debris. I mean, just
that Superman scene was excellent. That made me feel like that's what I want from Superman. I actually want him saving people. I don't want him just beating up bad dudes. Save people, Superman.
I saw, and of course, we won't get into it, but all of the back and forth with people who enjoyed the more recent Superman films, where Superman was dark and, hey, Batman, I could have killed you if I wanted to, and he's killing people and destroying everything. But no, let's get it back to, the warrior of the world, the guy who stands for, truth, justice, and the American way. This nailed it. And it's also the biggest success that Warner Brothers DC has ever had for trailer views. I think we are up to in excess of 25 million in the last 3 days. That's you pumped up those numbers. Those aren't rookie numbers. That's hot. That's pretty hot and well deserved. Well deserved. Very, very
apparently
exciting.
the biggest argument right now is underpants or no underpants. I am team underpants because we've seen no underpants before. It just doesn't look right.
It looks like he's wearing a body stocking, and that's not quite right.
A onesie.
And I just don't think you mess with the classic. I thought that while the tones are a little darker, nothing has ever quite been what Chris Reeve wore back in the 70s and 80s, but this I feel is close. I do like the capes attaching kind of at the collarbone, which is also Tyler Hoechlin Superman, who was just in Superman Lois. That was part of his costume. I think that's a good adaptation, and I think he also have the belt with the S on it. I know that Brandon Routh's Superman had that. That's a good look. That's good branding. Double brand the S and the S. Very good. I like that. Yep. So I'm fired up. So I'm going on record. I said this on our socials earlier this week. Movie of the summer, potentially highest grossing film of 2025. That's my ruling. We'll see.
Yeah, it gives me hope. I do like that in the one scene with Guy Gardner, you do feel like he's coming in to give Superman a pep talk, which makes it feel like they're not beating each other up. It's just they are knowing he's struggling. He's coming in to basically say, "Hey, Supes, you're the guy.
We got you.
You can't let him see you sweat."
Yeah.
And then we also have, apparently it's been shown that Lex Luthor and Superman know of each other, but have never clashed. So they essentially are peers that don't have a relationship yet. So this could be interesting.
Right. And we get a view of Lex Luthor's empire as Luthor Corp instead of LexCorp. And we see in that establishing shot of the building with the little bridge between it, a character called the Engineer. You familiar with the Engineer? I don't know anything about the character.
Deep cut character. Yeah. I may have heard of the character before, but I couldn't tell you anything about the Engineer.
Gotcha.
Female made of metal, apparently.
Female made of metal. Fantastic.
Like an Iron Maiden.
Yeah, like an Iron Maiden. So this was obviously when it said it was a teaser, I thought, this will be a minute and a half. It was 2.5 minutes. It's the length of a normal trailer. So probably after the Super Bowl, maybe at the Super Bowl, we'll get a more fleshed out, plot driven trailer as opposed to just an image trailer. Do you think? A little closer.
Probably. I was actually surprised this dropped before the Super Bowl, but then again, I remember when episode 7 dropped. That dropped so it kind of made sense that it was here then, because it kind of got the world to itself. Super Bowl, everything's dropping, and it's like, okay.
And it's a fury of images. Yeah, exactly. So this turns that around. So I'm fired up.
This trailer was actually at the movie I saw. It was already in theaters. So really? Dropped right away.
Oh, how exciting. Well, cool. Well, we will obviously continue talking about that. And Todd, I was working on our schedule for the next 6 months. You and I had talked about doing a Superman run up. So I took a series of his movies, and we can debate the merits of which ones we want to do. But we're gonna have a big Superman focus running up to that and talking about Superman, because we're all about this. As much as excited as I am about the Fantastic Four coming out this summer, it's not building on a legacy. It's building on a legacy of crap, where this is building on a legacy of good, bad. And this is a comeback. This is a great comeback for Superman. So. Yeah,
I think so too. It's just a new beginning for DC in a lot of ways. So in a lot of ways, it means a lot, because DC once again has been a mixed bag of I like this part, but the rest sucked. And it's like, okay, well,
Consistency. Yeah, absolute consistency. All right. Well, switching gears and back to an actor pretty famous, I'll say on the other side of the pond as far as comics go, over in the Marvel world. We have Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd in what looks like a black horror comedy capturing a mythical creature in A24.
Be careful how you say that, Charlie.
What, black comedy?
Black horror comedy.
Who...
Be careful how you say that.
I think your mind is somewhere unique on that. A black comedy with horror elements. Horror.
There you go. Over pronunciate it, please.
Oh my God. A24's Death of a Unicorn. And I had not heard anything about this. And I watched this trailer just 30 minutes ago. But yeah, this is a movie, and well, as we read down, we'll grab a release date. But the movie centers around a father, Rudd, and daughter, Ortega, who are headed to a weekend getaway with his billionaire boss, Richard E. Grant, who's
great.
He's a great actor. Just been in a ton of stuff, including Star Wars villain. When the pair strikes a unicorn with their car, complications ensue. When the boss realizes the unicorn gives miraculous benefits. Where, I mean, this is really coming out of left field. Do we have a who's producing this one?
A24 is behind it. So A24 does all of they typically do horror films, but they do indie stuff. And when you see more of this, you're like, oh God, this is going deep. Right. And I love the cast. I mean, Will Poulter, he was Guardians of the Galaxy. Tia Leone's in this. We haven't seen her in a while.
Long time.
Anthony Kerrigan, who's playing Metamorpho in the Superman film.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sunita Amani, Jessica Hines. I mean, great cast. This looks absolutely crazy, especially when they show the daddy unicorn at the end, which looks like a ridiculous monster.
It's like, it goes from looking basically like some kind of a werebear beast unicorn. You know, it's not, you think of unicorn, you think of, oh, it's Pegasus from Clash of the Titans, you know, and it's a white stallion with wings or whatever. And this thing is just
they're gonna stab you. They're stabby unicorns. Big
furry monster. There is not a release date on this, so we're kind of left in mystery. Yeah, could this be a summer release or maybe late winter?
That's a great question. The fact that they've got a trailer, this could probably pop in Feb or March.
Yeah. Oh, kind of like Cocaine Bear came out right around my birthday a couple years ago.
Yeah, because I haven't even seen this on the list of movies coming out. So, but yeah, I saw the title and I'm like, well, this is either going to be one of those really deep adult movies where it's like we're dealing with personal grief and loss. And they use the term unicorn because of it's unique or something. But no, it's a unicorn film. Like I'm all in. Yeah,
they're going right down there. Well, speaking of all in, Todd, you and I have talked about how much I love the fact that Skeletor from the Masters of the Universe, a beloved cartoon franchise of our youth, is the subject of dirty memes and stuff. You know, the Skeletor.
He's also unemployed too. Yeah, unemployed Skeletor was great. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, but all the terrible things about his relationship with Evelyn and their sexcapades. Anyway, but the live action film, which we know we're going to see in the next couple of years, has snagged its Skeletor along with some of its other supporting cast, but I don't know. We've got Jared Leto taking on that role. And Jared Leto, very famously in the first Suicide Squad film back in 2016, embraced the method of being the Joker by torturing his co-stars with dead rats and condoms filled with jelly or something. Like, he just did a lot of weird shit. So one can only imagine. Now, who else do we have rounding up this cast? Anybody that we know or new people?
There's a relatively unknown David Galitzine. Is that what his name is? No, Nicholas Galitzine is He-Man. Yeah. Camila Mendes is Tila. Idris Elba is Duncan Man-at-Arms. And then we've got from Community.
Jim Rash?
No, playing Evelyn. It's blanking on her name.
Britta?
Annie. Yes, Annie.
Little Annie. Shit. She's a gorgeous woman. I absolutely cannot remember her name for the life of me. This is embarrassing. I'm sure somebody will tweet this.
She's playing the Macy's gift guide right now in commercials you might have seen on TV.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So this seems kind of crazy. Yeah, we did get additional casting. Sam Wilson as the cyborg Trapjaw, Hafthor Bjornsson as the horn-headed strongman Goatman. Don't remember that character. And
Goatman, but
yeah, no, do you?
I don't remember, but Trapjaw's in this.
I know.
Yes, in Triclops.
I know. Yeah, that's Koto Ata. Is
LFG. LFG, man.
He just had the because I had that figure. He just had basically a circular spinner where round eye and then triangle eye and
happy eye, angry eye,
right,
sleepy eye.
Good stuff. Oh my goodness! But you may or may not recall if you're a Patreon. Recently, April and I talked about Morbius, which was Jared Leto's last big genre project. At least it was only 2 years.
He's going to be in Tron. He's going to be in the new Tron.
Okay.
And he was in. Yeah, I mean, he's been in so many things. And Charlie, as much as people like complain about him. I mean, could you pick a better guy playing Skeletor? I
No,
mean,
it nails
crazy,
it.
wacky Skullface.
Right,
I mean,
as opposed to the Joker, which in more modern parlance is menacing and terrifying. You think about the Killing Joke, or Heath Ledger's portrayal, where he didn't really fit the bill. But for this Skeletor, I mean, Skeletor's been in live action, played by Frank Langella. I swear
Frank
to God,
Langella. I'm like,
where he did, and I haven't seen that movie in forever. But his last line, didn't he pop back up out of the stew he was dying in and said, "I'll be back," or something, and then he sank back in. Wasn't
that's what he gave thumbs up. We're getting a sequel.
We're taking canon films all the way into the 2000s. They did not.
Eternia is eternal.
Oh my goodness! So
He-Man forever. Yeah, I love it, and we cannot wait for this to come together. I hope it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Me too.
I hope it's like a Flash Gordon.
Yeah, and my hope is that it will have some variety of success and not just be nobody sees it all. We're getting this from Amazon MGM Studios, which means it'll be on Prime right away,
eventually,
like contemporaneously, or at least eventually. So that means the majority of people will have access to it, and that's not a bad thing.
Alison Brie is the actress.
Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah, she was
Evelyn. That's fantastic.
She definitely fits the bill. All right, what else we got?
Charlie, Spider-Man 4 apparently is going to happen. And there is a rumor of a certain person we all love, Anya Taylor-Joy, apparently going to be in this film. And Charlie says undisclosed role. And I can think of only one person with that color hair, a love interest for Peter. And I think I know who that person is. Silver Sable. No, just kidding. Black Cat. Let's go.
At one point or another, and I don't remember this arc, they were involved romantically. I mean, but again, hair color doesn't matter because this picture. I was going to say that hair color doesn't matter for what role she's going to play, because this is a picture of her wearing a wig as Magic from the New Mutants movie. They put a wig on her, but Black Cat is my guess, and if not, they don't have a Gwen Stacy in this universe, so they could go in that direction.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Put Gwen Stacy in a closet and let her live, not be killed off on the screen again.
Exactly.
Make her Felicia Hardy's time to shine, man.
Because Felicia Hardy, they had her by name in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Andy Garfield one back in 2014, and it was actually Felicity Jones who was in Rogue One, was the star of that film, and with the thought of because they really teed that one up to be like, we're going to have a sequel now. Here's all the Sinister Six, and the movie was a failure, so it went away. But they were teeing her up to return in that next film and be the Black Cat. So yeah, I'm with you. That's the best direction they could go in. But yeah, they are actually making this film. This is following up on news that we previously reported, I think, earlier in the fall. But I'm into it. And any project that she graces, we enjoy, because she's very graceful and we enjoy her on a lot of different levels, I must say.
I mean, and there has not been a lot of Spidey protagonists brought into the Marvel Spider-Man films. So basically you get Spidey and then, Iron Man shows up, or somebody from essentially the MCU joins, versus an actual Spidey, like someone that can assist him and be his buddy, or, take on someone like a team up in regards to his universe characters.
A supporting cast of his own making, not the Spumco, where, hey, it's a villain film without Spider-Man, so something that's establishing a character that has history and has history with Peter in the comics that can make an effective transition. So
Charlie, I'm wondering, do we eventually get a Miles Morales hint in these movies?
We did in the first film. If you interpret Donald Glover's line as, "Hey, this neighborhood, my nephew lives here," and he's established as being Miles's uncle, who in the animated films is the Prowler, but that is extrapolated.
A little more. How about a little more on the nose for the average peoples?
Kind of like, Spidey stops this rubble from falling on this kid, and his mom grabs and says, "Miles, come with me." Something like that. Yeah, absolutely. I think because it's going to go in that direction, because Tom Holland is quote unquote, he's like Menudo, he's aging out of the role. And they're going to want a younger Spider-Man, or they're going to have the Spider-Men, which is currently the Spectacular Spider-Man is a currently published Marvel title, which stars the both of them. That could be pretty great if they kept things going, because Peter Parker has been, in his early 30s for, 50 years now. And they got to do something about that, because they can't, stop Tom Holland from getting older. I mean, for the scenes where he has the mask off, which in these films, typically, characters who are always masked, like Captain America or Batman or Spider-Man, always find a way to take their mask off so you can see their beautiful face. So in which case, if they could, age down Tom Holland and then obviously have a body double doing all the Spider-Man mess, they could keep it going. But moving it in organically, moving in a direction where you have Miles Morales, I think makes a lot more sense. Yeah,
and is MJ getting phased out because she's kind of Zendaya's kind of once again also getting older, right. And unless they're like an adult couple, which as right now we're left with, they aren't. Right. And if that comes back, maybe it's a good transition. Right. But that's what happened in the video games. They basically, in the last Spider-Man video game, Spider-Man 2, Spidey's gone on hiatus and Miles took over.
There you go. It's good. Or like I said, the capacity of them to potentially team up. But anyway, this is, I'm assuming, going into production probably within the next 6 months. And I feel like we'll see this is this on the books for 2026 already? Or we don't know?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing it'll probably, it would make sense, because if he's going to be, because isn't he supposed to be in?
You know what? It is because it's around the Avengers Secret Wars. I think it's just before it. It's either just before or just after. Obviously, those are the two choices. But because I did a hybrid probability grid of our movie wager, and I remember plugging in Spider-Man 4. So that'd be fun. All right. Well, everybody at least remembers fondly, it's a question, the 1999 film which spawned its own franchise, The Mummy, with the great Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz as the lead. And what's the name of the squirrely British guy who was Rachel Weisz's character's brother? I can't remember that.
Squirrely Stewson.
Squirrely Stewson. And then you had the guy who was Admiral Vance on Discovery was in that movies. But anyway, and then of course Arnold Vosloo, who was Zartan in the terrible G.I. Joe movies, was the Mummy himself. So great movie. Definitely has a lot of fans of people who are probably around our age, maybe a little bit younger.
Yeah.
But as all things does, we have a gritty reboot coming for it from Evil Dead Rise director Lee Cronin. So we did get that announcement plus some key art, which just kind of looks like a squiggle. I don't know. You look at this correctly. What do you think of this? I don't know.
It must be from a comic or something that I've never seen before.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that this particular version of the Mummy spawned from any specific IP besides like mummies in general. I don't know if this was an adaptation of anything back in the day. But this is a Blumhouse deal. James Wan, Jason Blum, and John Kenville are producers of this film, and I do not believe we have any names associated with it, but we do have a release date of April 17th, day after your birthday, in 2026. So go see it for your birthday, Ted.
Wow.
When you turn an undisclosed age, which I won't say out loud.
It'll be a magical number. Yeah.
It'll be a magical number.
Yeah, because in this, I was looking like who actually, come on, IMDb. I just want Wikipedia. So I was thinking about it because we had that Tom Cruise movie, which I've never seen, 2017, The Mummy, for Universal, I believe. Right. And so this was produced also by Universal. So
of course. Yes.
It's interesting because, we got The Invisible Man, which is one of the Universal, remember that one we saw with
Elizabeth Moss was
which was great. I love that movie. And I know they're going back into like more Dracula films, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this because what I liked about those films, it felt like Indiana Jones, high adventure, old timey, fun, goofy, good mix. Yeah. But if they're going darker, I mean, is it just going to be like the old school mummy film from like, I think of those old films where the mummy was just going to kill and eat everybody. I don't know. It's so slow, but they panicked. And
I don't know that I would really care for that. It doesn't really sound very appealing. You know what I mean?
James Wan, I mean, he does the Fast and Furious films. and then he does like these hardcore horror films. So I don't know what he could deliver with Mummy. Go back in time, do it like old timey versus the Tom Cruise, which is modern times.
I guess. But audiences didn't gobble up that 2017 movie, even though Tom Cruise has been a box office draw for 40 something years. And
I never saw that movie. I probably should just watch it to see how bad it is.
I've heard it lampooned by a lot of the some of the core podcasts I enjoy, but all I know is that Tom Cruise has a legacy of forcing women to kiss him, and it happens again in that movie, which just sounds very unpleasant.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I know.
I always wondered about like handsome, powerful men that it's like, wait, you ain't got enough swag to get ladies on the fly? I mean, what is that about?
Right, exactly. I don't know. Definite Hollywood weirdo.
Don't be weird, Tom Cruise.
I definitely don't know. We'll probably end up seeing this one just because we're Blumhouse fans, and I think it's a decently interesting property. But I don't know. I don't know that I would want, I assume this is not a continuation in any way, but potentially be some nods and winks to the old films, because those kind of things happen. But
didn't they have like the kids like in the third one?
Yeah, we did. I think when
with Yetis and things like that.
We had, because there was the second one, which was a couple, maybe in 2001, 2002, where Rick and Ivy are married, and then we jump forward maybe a decade. This is like 2013, 2014. There was another film with him, and their kids were grown, and then they were fighting in the Himalayas with Yeti. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. A fun family activity that everybody should take part in. So,
fighting Yetis.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yetis. Don't you think? Don't you want to take your son to do that? I know. Had the chance, I'd do it myself. Yeah, absolutely correct. Well, that does take us out of the news, Todd. It's 2025, and we earned ourselves an upgrade. We're taking regular Uber to down to the Geek Easy, which, as you showed me recently, they finally cleaned the place up. It's not quite as gross as it used to be. But anyway, that's where
it's turned into a steak and ale.
Oh God, McAllister's. It's a steak and
Bennigan's. Bennigan's Plus.
Bennigan's Plus. They have like a nicer Bennigan's. Oh my God. But anyway, hey, the Uber is here. The guy's got his radio on, and I swear this thing follows us around like a cloud. It's the same ad I always hear.
Hey, Secret Friends Unite. Let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. Provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover band's playing, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So Churlie actually got a recommendation from our good friend Brian Cole. He said, hey, I've been watching Die Hart, and it's on season 3. It's pretty funny. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, this is, I know you'll love this, Churlie. So Die Hart was an original production for Quibi. Roku bought all of the content from Quibi and now shows it on the Roku channel.
Oh my
Apparently,
gosh.
Roku channel is like now like
Well,
the top like free streaming location.
They have two of their free channels that I tune into from time to time. They have one that just plays SNL skits on a loop, and they have one that's MST3K, that's from your homeland there. Everybody loves MST3K. No, I'll see Brian on Monday. We're having lunch, so he's here in town.
Good deal.
Holidays. So yeah,
good deal. Yeah. So Die Hard, the premise is pretty funny. It's so based on Quibi, the episodes are only like 9 minutes long, so they go quick and. It's like you can just knock it out very quickly. But the whole premise was this is kind of like a mockumentary on Kevin Hart, where he wants to be taken seriously and wants to be an action star. Oh. So he basically and it's got it's full adult language and everything too, which is funny to hear him talk about that. And he's like on a TV show where he's being interviewed and he drops an F-bomb about a movie he was in with The Rock, and so he has to rehabilitate his career. But apparently he gets a call from his agent, says, this famous action director wants to cast you, but you need to go to action star school, which is great. Yeah. So basically, Jean Reno, him, the French dude, he's the director that's going to be doing this film. So he says, yeah, so you have to do this. So it's pretty funny. So guess who is the teacher of the action school, Charlie?
I swear to God, I saw this on a Roku ad this morning. But all I remember seeing was him. Who is it? Will Ferrell?
Yeah. No, it's John Travolta. So John Travolta not being John Travolta. John Travolta's playing a guy, which is pretty funny. Yeah. So it's pretty funny and it's really interesting. Kevin Hart's pretty good because he's totally covering all his bases about the fact that he knows who he is. He's calling it out. John Travolta's playing a ridiculous character. And then the slave girl from Game of Thrones who eventually married Grey Worm. You remember her?
Nathalie Emanuel.
So she's in it. So she's kind of like the co-star of this piece. She also goes to action school. So it's the two of them having adventures. I did not realize this series is up to 3 seasons. So
people must be watching it otherwise, especially since it's not a free streamer. Yeah.
It's free streaming. It's very fast. Like I said, it's like every episode's like 9 minutes. So it's like you feel like, you're just getting to something. Next episode. I'm like, okay, I'm in. Very digestible.
Quibi. When was that big? Was that in 2021?
So it was right during the pandemic is when
2020.
When people were supposed to be like commuting and watching these short bits, these quick bites on the plane or the train or the automobile. And
they thought it was going to be the next big thing, and it ended up being the next big nothing.
But there's some good content from it that emerged. So, like Reno 911, I think came, Reno, right? Like they rebooted that for a special. They have a couple of shows that I like on it. So it's all there on Roku now. So watch it for free.
Jim Dangle, I love it.
Exactly. And then since my son is back, done with his first semester of college, he's off for almost a month. We went to see Sonic 3 in the theater. Nice. It's one of our favorites. And Jim Carrey is so good in this. Oh my God, he is back.
Just from the trailers, it looked fat. And he's playing a dual role, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's the way
he is playing his grandfather, who he didn't even know he had. Yeah. He's eating up the scenery. It's so funny. I liked what they did with apparently it's based on the Shadow of the Hedgehog game, so it's I guess canonical,
steeped in the source material. Oh my god,
absolutely, Charlie. But I thought it was highly entertaining, very fun, and if you're a fan of Sonic, I mean, it hits all those notes. It's goofy, and he didn't have an overwhelming amount of like annoying humans, which I think is important because sometimes you're like,
it's what killed the Transformers movies, as you said. Just too many people. You just give the people what they want, which is not people.
And then Kristen Ritter was in this, which I'm like, I guess she needed a paycheck, so she played kind of like a pretty generic like military officer. So hey, it's a thing.
Glad to see her back.
Sure.
Yeah, she is coming back as Jessica Jones. I thought I read that in a headline recently. So, and all the
as part of Daredevil,
and all of the Netflix Marvel is now canon. They worked it back in. I also read that too. I feel like
they'll use it accordingly and bring it in sparingly.
Yes, that's like they do with Star Trek the animated series. They kind of loop little bits
It's
back
fine.
in. Yeah, why not?
It's like James Gunn said about the DC universe. He said now, if we mention it in one of our films, the previous stuff is canon.
Right.
If we don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's a good attitude to have.
You can keep your head canon to yourself. Yeah, because I mean, DC more than any organization, that's one of the oldest media entities in the geek world that exists. I think it's the oldest from the 1930s. You know, what else goes back further than DC? I can't think.
I mean, are we going to include the old Batman and Superman series from the 50s?
Well,
those have to be canon too.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So that's how they tried to wipe that out with Crisis, and the 97 crises that followed can't be done. But anyway, I digress. All right, well, cool. So as I said, when I was gone on Thursday, I got back. I watched Superman trailer, and April said I turned into Netflix this morning and I saw a movie. It's a Christmas movie, and we just have to watch it. I'm like, I was so exhausted because I drove home with that black ice I was telling you about it. Oh God, what a nightmare. So I'm sitting there, whiskey in hand. I'm like, let's watch Christmas movie. And it was a Christmas thriller called Carry On, and it's over on Netflix. Taron Egerton is the star. The villain is Jason Bateman. And he's very villainous. Like they pulled it off. And he's backed up by.
Well, he's got a villainous wit, so his sarcasm is very evil.
Very much so. And his sideman is Theo Rossi, who you've seen in a lot of. He was Shades in Power Man. Yeah. So the guy with
also in the Penguin too, which I forgot.
Mustache. And it's a genuine thrill. It's filled with a lot of corny tropes and some corny dialogue, but it's a thriller, and it really does keep you going until the end. I enjoyed it. You know, it's a lean 90 minutes, which is what you expect out of Netflix. Netflix movies are almost always terrible. Anytime April and I fly anywhere, she downloads Netflix movies on her iPad, and I will like if I finish watching when I'm watching, I'll get the other earbud, or she'll just have the captions on it. I'll just be mocking the shit out of it and she knows they're bad, but we have fun making fun of them. But this one, I thought this one had a little bit of a spark. I thought it was kind of fun. So again, it's Netflix. Most people have it, and because it's the holidays, take a moment to tune in. I think there's a chance you might enjoy it. So finally sat down, and I'm trying to get committed to getting back on the horse to reading some comics on Marvel Unlimited, not just the stuff that I purchased.
Charlie, if you read comics on a horse, that's very difficult.
Are we talking horror again?
No, horse.
Horse. Horror horse.
I mean, that's a lot of galloping. I mean, the words and the pictures are going up and down.
I probably get a little vertigo, but anyway, I'm trying to get caught up on making good use of Marvel Unlimited, because there are some titles I purchased which I read on Kindle, but I want to get back to the regular stuff. So jumped back on reading Amazing Spider-Man. I'm caught up to probably about 5 or 6 issues ago, ending the current. I feel like the most recent time I talked about it, I mentioned this. The current storyline has to do with the Green Goblin and Spidey and the Sin Eater, and all of the Green Goblin's sins were through Craven and mysticism. Craven, nice tie-in. Through mysticism, he collected all his sins into a spear and stabbed Spidey with the spear, and Spidey became the Spider Goblin for a couple of issues. And it was very fantastical, but they're at about issue 55 now of volume 6. They're in volume 6. Legacy 960. So they're getting closer to 1,000. It's pretty exciting. And they're publishing bi-weekly now, so they're going to get there even faster. But it's,
cheating the system.
I know, Buck. I said Buck, not with a B.
You'll be the only one that knows it hits 1,000, Charlie. No one else will ever know.
No, they'll make a very big deal out of it. They'll say legacy numbering 1,000. But yeah, I thought it was a cool wrap up. Again, Spidey has really embraced the fantastical post Spider-Verse, and then really with all the media and the films that have come out. So I think this is good. I know the current series they're doing is like the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, so I'm sure I'll get into that. I didn't know spiders
cat.
I didn't know.
Does he have 8 lives?
I didn't. Yeah,
does he get 9?
Spiders had like 8 or 9 lives, so that should be interesting. But
they have 8 legs.
Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man.
Is that what it is? The legs. Each leg is a life.
Each leg is a life. So does that mean you can pluck them off until the spider's just kind of flopping around with no legs? Is that a thing?
One leg.
Yeah. A one-legged spider in an ass-kicking contest.
That's not a good use of legs. But I did one question, Charlie.
Okay.
So I did see there is a new Hobgoblin figure coming out from the Select line. But this is what confused me.
Okay,
so at one point they said,
I think I know what it is.
This is a very common confusion. I saw Hobgoblin and
No.
hobgoblin.
Oh, that's not what I
I
thought
don't
you were going to
understand
say.
it
The character
because
has
Wayne
only,
Wilcox used to say hobgoblin. I'm like, hobgoblin? What the hell is that?
he's only ever been the hobgoblin. It's one word. I thought your question was going to be, I saw this figure too. I'll probably pick it up, even though I don't really do Marvel Select. But
That would be like hobo goblin.
the hobgoblin
That's what it is. It's the hobo goblin, not a hobgoblin.
So his outfit should be more dirty and should have a spindle.
Yes,
Well, the hobgoblin
yes.
has always been my favorite Spider-Man villain. So I will probably snag
He's cool.
this one.
I always loved this look.
Kevin Smith always said he's like the Green Goblin, but he's metal because it was from the 80s. But this figure you're talking about has a swap out head of just a gray-haired dude. That's Roderick Kingsley, who was the original Hobgoblin, who framed Ned Leeds in posthumously and tried to tell people that he was the Hobgoblin.
And I tried to frame Ned Leeds. It didn't work very well.
No, you tried to frame actor Jason Batalon, or what's it? Is it Jacob
Ned?
Batalon? Yeah, from the movies.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Didn't work out.
But anyway, okay, so based on a promise I made to Al Jean of the Simpsons fame, who we interviewed quite a while back on our Patreon. Another great reason to tune into our Patreon is listen to that very fun conversation we had. I've been trying to get back into the Simpsons. Now I jumped into Disney Plus and I went back a couple seasons and watched the one where Marge in her community theater troupe, she tries to relive her high school days by having a party with the theater kids. And then this special as well. Poor Julie Kavner. I can't listen to how she just sounds like she's in pain. She sounds like she's in pain. It's hurtful. But so much has gone by. So Todd, have you seen the Christmas special, the recent one? It's just
watched it last night.
Oh,
just watched it last night. Very cute.
Go. It was,
yes.
It was, and it had a nice message too, because a lot of it focused around Ned Flanders. I didn't realize that. Obviously, we know that his first wife Maude passed away a long time ago. Didn't know he was married to Edna Krabappel. I know the character is gone, so he's a twice widower, and he's challenged with his faith. With every bad thing that's happened to him, and it ends up with him in a submersible with Professor Frank, which I thought this is the Simpsons at its best. They start with one thing, and then they go left, right. Three rights make a left. They just go absolutely wild. So while you're right, I struggle with poor Julie Kavner because she just sounds like her voice is torn to shreds. She sounds like Janis Joplin at this point. You know what I mean? But I really love that they can really knock out something that still has that unique Simpsons flavor and still have a really valuable message. So I was impressed. I will try to watch more. Maybe I'll try to watch more episodes that don't focus on Marge because I feel so bad listening to her. Poor Julie Kavner. I'm sorry.
She sounds the same to me. It's never bothered me. But really? I would say that was an interesting episode because it was like an hour long.
Yeah.
And it also had a Homer storyline too, which I thought was fun with Ralph. Just Ralph gets to show up, which is fun.
I do. Yeah, Ralph is the original kind of slow special kid,
yes.
but he's very lovable. So yeah, I thought that was pretty great. So I definitely enjoyed that. That is on Disney Plus for anybody to watch who has Disney Plus. So all right, well that takes us out of the Geek Easy. Todd, I've got my Air Qantas app out. Time to get down to the land down under. It is Christmas time, even in Australia where it's summer, but we're going to go to Australia to talk about the Mount Rushmore of Christmas. This should be interesting. Let's do it.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Thank you, Tina. The mutants have been gathered for a Top Gear game to be entertained. And this week, we're doing something like we did for Thanksgiving, and we are doing this now for Christmas. We take the concept of Mount Rushmore, where 4 important things are put up for history for us to look at and think about how important they are by each figure. So I decided, Charlie, with Mount Rushmore of Christmas, we have to think about this kind of the way we did before. Last time we kind of picked like a food, a song, right. TV, things like that. So very similar. And, the thought would be, we'll each have our own, and then we can have 2, or we can combine into 1, but both have merit. And we'll go there. So, Charlie, if we think about this, I mean, we always screw this up. So the actual Mount Rushmore includes presidents Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, and did I already say? Oh, George Washington. Yeah, so there we go. We got our 4 presidents.
Big group. How do you ever? I mean, I don't know anything about the history of that. How do they pick those 4 and not potentially other ones that are of the same-ish time period?
good question. I
Like,
don't know.
I wonder if there was any kind of like it was a public vote or something like that. These days it'd be on TikTok, or something.
Oh, it would be horrible. It'd be horrible because like it would be like somebody would say you can't have this guy because he did this. You can't have this guy, and it's like there'd be nobody there. I mean, it would be essentially like we're gonna pick like Gerald Ford, and we're gonna pick the most bland.
Jerry Ford, they did his service right down the street from my house, church down at the corner. So where Brian and Danielle were married, as a matter of fact.
So the concept came out in 1920 for Mount Rushmore, and then, interesting. They were going to have sculptor Laredo Taft. So that kind of seems like an inside job. President Taft has his grandson doing that. But how did they pick them? Let's see. Belgium rejected. Okay, they brought in somebody else. Borglum was the person who was picked to do this. He said rejected original plan of depicting characters from the Old West, such as Lewis Clark, Red Cloud, Sacagawea, John C. Freeman, Crazy Horse. Instead, decided to pick 4 American presidents. The 4 presidents were said to be carved into granite. Blah blah blah. But I don't know. Let's see. Did they have a final vote on it? I'll have to look at this. There's a lot of information here, Charlie. It's very interesting.
We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you. We'll break this down in a special episode all about Mount Rushmore. So there you go. Exactly. But, we're dealing with basically presidents from different eras representing different things. So that's what we're doing here. So Churlie. So if we get into this, so maybe we should group this into like 4 categories. Does that make the works? Like
sure.
So food. Should we go food?
Christmas food. And are we putting it in are we putting it in the context of something related to genre or just a great food to have?
Well, I mean, once you get into like fake comic book food, then you get into like with the roast beast from, you could do the roast beast from The Grinch. That is like an iconic food. I mean, eggnog is really, think of Christmas Vacation where they're drinking out of the moose. What is it? Wally Moose.
Oh, the Wally World. Yeah, the moose.
Wally World and Montgomery Moose.
Marty Moose.
Marty Moose. Yeah. Yes, those. We got candy canes, Charlie. I'm trying to think what else. We've got like Christmas cookies.
Right.
You can go all the way. I don't know of any other like holiday geek food.
I have a weird one. This is not geek related. This is family related. It comes from April's family, and it's funny because you and I were talking before we got on here. Christmas this year because our daughter is in Spain with her dad's family, and my son is too cool to hang out with us. So it's just April and me on Christmas Day. A Christmas tradition in her family, and it's going to sound weird to you because it sounded weird to me. I don't know if this may be a country thing. I have no idea, but corn fried mush. Are you familiar with corn fried mush? Doesn't ring a bell? It does ring a bell?
Well, I know there's some weird ones like oyster stew is a big thing like for people in the country, for my family, which I never ate, but they talked about it. I'm like,
that has been a thing in April's family forever. Her mom would do it. So I was doing the dishes this morning, and there's a pan with the mush, with the corn, whatever stuff sitting in it. She's gonna make a pan of it. We're gonna have it on Christmas Day. So yeah, that's a big one. So I'll slap, and you know what? It tastes pretty good. It's basically kind of corn slime and salt.
Is it cornmeal mush? Like almost
correct.
Like cornbread?
Correct.
And you fry it up? You fry it up like a piece of something?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like a hash brown kind of thing.
You know what? Yeah, but really, yeah, not quite that.
Same as corn pone.
Corn pone. Yeah, corn oil. A thimble of corn oil.
Charlie, Michigan hillbillies. I got some hillbillies on my side. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
I know.
If you're from the thumb or you're from the far northeast. Or northwest,
Alpena,
part of Michigan,
Alpena or Petoskey. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you never know. So, I fried corn mush, Charlie. I think that's safe to say that's an original, and
I think so.
Enjoy your corn fried mush.
I plan to.
They need to like work on that name. Just the name is.
Fried is just. Kentucky Fried Chicken became KFC because
fried is good,
but it has a negative connotation. People like, fried, kill people, whatever. It's bad for your health. So I don't know. But for one day a year, I will hop on board the corn fried mush train.
Okay, so we've mentioned a few. So pick one. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, Charlie, if most of America would look at corn fried mush on your as something
You know what?
identifiable.
It's unique enough. I'm going to stick with it. I think I've got to take a stand.
Okay. Wow, you're really hurting America, aren't you, Charlie?
Well, there's a lot of that going around.
I'm picking eggnog.
Okay.
I'm picking eggnog. It's a favorite in our household. You can make it alcoholic. You can make it like oat milk. And if you meant to make it that way, don't do that. But whatever. I love eggnog, and it's just this is the only time of the year that usually will have it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And I that was one my mom would pick up when she was, when I would come home for Christmas in college or something. I haven't seen hide nor hair of it. I'd rather just drink the booze. I don't really need anything besides that. But yeah, I'm down with your eggnog. So it's in Marty Moose then, they still sell
it's
those.
In the glass.
Yeah, it's the Marty Moose
glass. In the glass.
That you saw Clark Griswold chug when his Christmas bonus turned out to be a Jelly of the Month Club gift.
Eddie just kept on. Yeah, Eddie just kept on down in those two. Yeah. Okay. We're getting to a character, Charlie. This can be fictional, real, can be animated, can Christmas be character. CGI, can come from a book. What represents Christmas to you?
I got a good one. Representing Christmas to me, my favorite Christmas film is Die Hard. So my character, John McClane.
John McClane. Okay. I'll put that for consideration.
Oh, I didn't realize this was at your discretion.
Oh no, it's for yours. You can have it for yours. Yeah. Yes. So I saw yours is going to be corn fried mush.
you love it.
And you got John McClane. So yes, that's that is a very controversial pick for a lot of people. So you go with it. You go, boy.
It's an endearing controversy that some people just can't get over the hump. Just because it's set at Christmas, it doesn't make it a Christmas movie. But I think it's all about a Christmas miracle and fighting evil. Isn't that real? Like the night the reindeer died from Scrooge. My other pick would be Frank Cross from Scrooge because that's my other favorite Christmas character.
He is pretty good. He is pretty good. I love that movie. Wow. So I got to think of one character. You know what, Charlie? I love that. This is such a dumb pick, but I'm picking it. I'm picking Hermie, the elf wannabe dentist.
We watched. It was funny you should mention that. It's on my playlist right now, my Soup to Nuts playlist on Prime, which is songs that I pick as opposed to random. But when the Guardians special came out, it was either last year or the year before. They had the band the Old 97s, which is a favorite of Kevin Bacon, did their Christmas song, and one of the verses was he had an elf who wanted to be a dentist, and now he's sleeping with the fish. Like they killed him because he wanted to be
killed
him
off. Yep.
Oh,
that's not to be accepted in elf culture. It's either that or Yukon Cornelius. I love that.
I was going to bring that one up myself because he's where he licks his pick at one point to see if he struck gold. What a weirdo, Jesus.
What an abominable. There's so many good characters. Island and Misfit Toys. That's one. Charlie in the Box.
That's one that we own and we watch every year. So we watched that I think last week. But I want to be a dentist. Meh. Well, they need one. They all have teeth.
Why am I such a mess?
It's fat where I
oh my God, Charlie! You'll get a kick out of this. In Fortnite, that game right now, Mariah Carey, she was in a block of ice in Fortnite. She burst out and she's singing the song, and you can go watch her. It's so weird.
Yeah. Can you hit her in the face? Can you hit her in the face with Yukon Cornelius's pickaxe? Wong to shut her down.
You got to break her out somehow.
Oh my God.
Okay. So then next we are going to go for. I'm trying to think what would be next. So we picked food, person, character,
activity.
Should we pick let's go with activity.
Okay.
Yeah. What represents Christmas? And sorry if you do not celebrate Christmas.
Right.
You
can.
We are if you're a Jewish faith, you could put in latkes if you want.
Yeah.
You could put a character. Could be Hanukkah Harry. You could pick. What's the character? Oh, Krusty the Clown.
Well, he's Jewish, but yes, you go back to it.
Yep. I'm trying to think of anything else that would be good. Maybe activity, dreidel would be good.
Absolutely. I've got one, and this is
Okay.
from Christmas past when my mom still lived here in town, and she would host Christmas. Starting from probably after, one of my older relatives died who hosted it before her. So all the South Haven family would come here, my mom's family, my brother would often be home from the service. And for a number of years, we did White Elephant / Nasty Santa. God.
We did that too. That's a great one.
Absolutely fantastic. And, we had this deal, and I know my brother and I went back and forth over a bottle of Jameson's one year. That was maybe like 2 or 3 rounds.
That's a good gift.
Yeah. It was just because I had it and he wanted it. So he had to do like the guy who traded a paperclip for a house. You know what I mean? So I really miss that, but it's tough to do when you don't have when you have a big group of people, you know what I mean? And my stepkids, who are my kids, I don't know that it'd be something they get into, and my in-laws are not really very fun people, so I don't really think that they would get the most. Where my mom's family, they're all very fun, so I totally miss that, and would absolutely love to have a rousing round of Nasty Santa at a future Christmas. So that's my favorite Christmas thing.
Yeah, we do the White Elephant and at Thanksgiving, because that's when we get all the family together. It's absolutely fun. We went from like actually picking real gifts to like last year. I think I gave away a Christmas Chihuahua dog that was like they sang songs. I'm like, this is the most annoying thing in the world. But the funniest one, we had one at work, Charlie. One of the coworkers brought in a Bill Clinton animatronic that showed his ass.
Oh,
like that was the gift. He bent over and mooned everyone.
So I'm like, I had the strongest economy in generations. Kiss my ass.
So if I think of something for an activity, and what we have to put on, we have to have something symbolize what the white elephant is. So should it be like something from the dollar store? Like,
I mean, like I said, it could be nasty. If you wanted to go with Nasty Santa as a name instead, you could just have Santa flipping the bird. Nasty Santa. I mean, I don't know. Or you're right, just like somebody with like, hey, here's
a bad gift.
Here's a total.
What's a bad gift?
A booklet of IOU of hugs, like some shitty back rubs in an IOU booklet. You can exchange for one back rub. Homemade coupon books. That's a bad gift.
That is a bad gift.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it like an ornament, Charlie, that nobody ever wanted. So it's gonna be like a Jar Jar Binks ornament.
There you
Sound
go.
good?
You're right. Okay. Pass it around. Jar Jar Binks ornament. Excellent.
Because I think that's become a big part of Christmas too. Is like, we're gonna put ornaments on a tree, and quite honestly, they have nothing to do with Christmas. So it's gonna be like, oh, Terminator. We're gonna make a Terminator ornament because you know what? I like the Terminator.
He ran over a Christmas tree when he was driving, trying to escape that Mack truck in Terminator 2. I don't know, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. He came in to kill Jesus before he was born, or Mary. He has to kill Mary before Jesus was born. That'd be kind of dark and scary.
Very dark. I like that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the was it Mad TV? They had those really always bad Christmas special knockoffs that were like claymation and things. There might have been one with that. Yeah,
there was definitely one with Rudolph that they did. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
So we've got food, character, activity, Charlie. So we could go with song, or we could do.
I'm gonna go song because I have the absolute greatest Christmas song of all times. Drum roll, at least in your head. That would be "Christmas in Hollis" by Run DMC. Greatest Christmas song that ever was.
So it's going to be an Adidas tracksuit,
gold chain, big old chain in the hat, big old chain in the hat,
with a hat, like Christmas, because you have to make it like something. You get Santa in. How about Santa in an Adidas tracksuit with its gold chain?
Because Santa is of course the star of the song. You have the group rapping about how one of the group members finds Santa's wallet with $1 million in it, and he said I could keep it, but I won't do it. I'll put it back in the mail. But then it came back to me. The $1 million was for me. And if you watch the video, they all get presents.
Creepy elves with closed circuit TV. It's very weird.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, they get gifts of a turntable and microphone, and then they start rapping. I'm going to go watch it when we get done here. Look that up on, is it Vimeo that has you can watch my YouTube. That's where all the videos are these days. Since MTV hasn't played a music video since 2001.
No. YouTube is the home of all things video. So whether it's Vimeo or those other services there. The only other Christmas song that I love to pieces is that just irreverent, and that is the 12 Pains of Christmas. Ooh. Absolutely love it. It's so real. It's so true. Have you not heard it before?
No, I don't think so.
Bob Rivers did a lot of fake Christmas songs for an album that Steve and I used to listen to as kids. But the 12 Pains of Christmas is great. It's about basically, sending Christmas cards. It's very funny. I will send you a link to that. So, but we'll go with the Santa in the Adidas tracksuit representing the Run DMC classic Christmas in Hollis, Queens.
I love it. Try spelling Santa differently. That is definitely not a word.
I'm just typing as I talk, Charlie.
Clean it up later. Fix
Sonata.
Fix it in
Sonata. Yes.
Sonata. Oh, it's a Hyundai Sonata. Oh, that's what Santa's going to bring you for Christmas. It's in the sack because it comes out of the trans-dimensional space. Look, here's a Honda Sonata. Good deal. You love it.
Yes. There we go. We have officially made the weirdest holiday, Christmas themed Mount Rushmore. If you are of another faith or you don't celebrate, you know what? It's time off. Enjoy and make your own Mount Rushmore of whatever you celebrate. I would absolutely love anyone on any of our socials, whether it be Discord, which is where we have some of our greatest chats. We'll talk about that more in a minute, or on any of our socials. Drop us a line. What would you put on your Mount Rushmore or your dreidel Mount Rushmore if you happen to celebrate as such? People of the world, let us know what you say. If you're come from that religion that is all about snake handlers, which I think they made up on The Simpsons, but it could be real. I have no idea. It's real. Deep South, Charlie. Deep South.
Oh my God. Speaking in tongues. I love it. Well, hey gang, that is the show. And again, if you're listening to this in time, Merry Christmas for those who celebrate. Wonderful, splendid Hanukkah season for those who celebrate, and to all other faiths of the world. We are ending 2024. We are certainly in this country heading into interesting times in 2025. Let's all stick together. Let's remember that we are one brotherhood of man, and hope that carries us through. Oh my God. But anyway, Todd, where do people find you out there?
Well, I will tell you this. My gift this year is all the awesome listeners and friends and all the people we made along the way in 2024. So thank you all for giving the gift of awesome people in our lives. But you can follow me at Toxtra at Secret Friends Unite on the threads. And you could follow me at Blue Sky, at Todd Oxtra, at Secret Friends Unite. DMs are open on Blue Sky, and if you want to DM us on Instagram, that replaces threads. And we also have our email address in case neither of those work, which is secretfriendsunite@gmail.com.
Absolutely. The mailbag does exist. Well, I'm fortunate enough that I do have the same moniker at Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the C3, TheCeeThree. Hit me up there. My DMs are open as well. Would love to hear from you. And as I had mentioned, our Discord is a fun and safe environment to talk about geek stuff. We would love to have you there. It's open. Just ping us on Discord, or ping us if you need a link. We can get that to you as well. And we'd love to have you on board. Once more, happy holidays, happy Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and a happy New Year. Though we'll be back with you before the clock strikes 2025 with our next episode. But I'm going to tell you as always that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Why am I such a nitwit?
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.